In the history of modern science, extraordinary breakthroughs almost always walk hand in hand with equally extraordinary risks. In atomic energy laboratories around the world, physicists and engineers work daily with materials that, if mishandled, can trigger dangerous events. Nuclear accidents, although rare, have left deep marks, from failures in experimental reactors to unsuccessful military tests. Every incident has served as a warning about the unforgiving nature of nuclear physics. But among all these episodes, one case stands out as one of the most emblematic. Not for gigantic explosions or devastating environmental effects, but because it happened in the heart of the greatest scientific center in modern history. The protagonist of this story is a plutonium core the size of a piece of fruit, which became a symbol of how science can advance and how it can exact a price. Today, we will tell the complete story of the Demon Core, the core that redefined nuclear safety and left a legacy that still echoes in modern science. To understand the Demon Core, we must go back to a time when nuclear physics was only beginning to take shape, and the world was unknowingly approaching a major turning point. In the early 20th century, names like Marie Curie, Ernest Rutherford, and Niels Bohr were uncovering the mysteries of the atom. Then, in the 1930s, a discovery changed everything: nuclear fission. When the nucleus of certain elements, like uranium, splits, the energy released is enormous. Lise Meitner and Otto Hahn explained the process, and soon the world understood. This could be revolutionary or dangerous. In 1939, as Nazism advanced, Jewish scientists fleeing Europe realized something alarming. Germany was researching nuclear weapons. Two refugees, Leo Szilard and Eugene Wigner, urged Albert Einstein to sign a letter addressed to President Roosevelt. Einstein himself never worked on the bomb, but his signature persuaded the US government to launch a massive scientific military project. Thus began the Manhattan Project. On one side, Nazi Germany trying to build an atomic weapon. On the other, the United States gathering some of the greatest minds in physics, in a race for knowledge and ultimately for survival. As the project progressed, scientists discovered something critical. Plutonium-239 was even more efficient than uranium for implosion-type weapons. It is extremely dense, highly radioactive, and dangerously sensitive. Small changes, geometry, temperature, proximity of reflective materials, could push it into criticality. For a nuclear bomb to work, plutonium must go from subcritical to supercritical in milliseconds. But inside the lab, the goal was exactly the opposite: to prevent that from happening accidentally. By 1945, the Manhattan Project produced three main fissile cores: the uranium core used on Hiroshima, the plutonium core used on Nagasaki, and a third plutonium core prepared for a potential third bomb if Japan refused to surrender. But the world changed on August 15, 1945, when Japan announced its surrender. The third core suddenly had no military purpose. It was sent to Los Alamos for scientific experiments, and there, it would earn a new name. A name no one expected would become so symbolic. To understand what happened next, we must understand the key concept of this story: criticality. In nuclear physics, subcritical, the reaction cannot sustain itself. Critical, a delicate balance between fissions and neutron emissions. Supercritical, the reaction grows rapidly, the beginning of a nuclear explosion. The issue, the plutonium in the Demon Core, was dangerously close to the critical threshold even in the lab. Scientists studied it by slowly surrounding the core with materials like tungsten and beryllium, which reflect neutrons and increase reactivity. These tests were called, even by the scientists themselves, tickling the dragon's tail, an ominous metaphor for what was about to happen. In August 1945, young physicist Harry Daghlian worked alone in the lab, something that would later be strictly forbidden. He was stacking tungsten carbide bricks around the core to measure neutron reflection. It was late. He was tired, but he wanted to finish. One brick slipped from his hand and fell onto the core. The new configuration reflected more neutrons back into the plutonium than was safe. The core briefly entered a highly reactive state, enough to cause serious health complications for the researcher. Over the following days, Daghlian faced severe medical consequences from the intense radiation exposure, effects that were not yet fully understood at the time. This incident sent shockwaves through the scientific community at Los Alamos. The second incident occurred in May 1946 during a demonstration by physicist Louis Slotin. Slotin used two beryllium hemispheres to cover the core. When closed, they reflected so many neutrons that the system approached criticality almost instantly. To keep the halves separated, Slotin used a simple screwdriver. It was an improvised method, and he knew it was dangerous. During the demonstration, the screwdriver slipped. That tiny movement changed the geometry around the core and briefly created a highly reactive configuration. Slotin experienced serious medical consequences from the exposure. Colleagues standing nearby also faced health effects, though less severe. A stark reminder that radiation risks were poorly understood at the time. Researchers spent weeks following the medical outcomes, and many accounts describe an atmosphere of fear, empathy, and quiet tension among the scientific staff. After this second incident, the third core was officially nicknamed the Demon Core. The Demon Core was never again used in risky experiments. It was later melted down and repurposed for safer research under the new strict protocols. The core would never become a bomber. It would never detonate. But its influence on nuclear science was profound. The Demon Core is not remembered for destroying cities, but for teaching the scientific world something essential: that science advances through humility, responsibility, and memory. Thank you for watching Science Today. See you in the next episode.